Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the Qur'an's 27th chapter, Surah An-Naml, which means the ant. We're going to focus on the incredible story of Prophet Solomon and the Queen of Sheba to really unpack some profound ideas about power, the nature of reality, and even the human soul itself.
You see, the story of Prophet Solomon and the Queen of Sheba is so much more than just a historical tale. It's practically a dense philosophical text. Within these verses, there's this entire framework for understanding what divinely sanctioned authority looks like, the actual mechanics behind miracles that seem to just break the laws of physics, and even the fundamental nature of our own consciousness. We are about to walk through a very specific, very detailed interpretation that's going to force us to question our basic assumptions about how the world really works.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at this idea of divine statesmanship by examining Prophet Solomon's unique authority. Then, we're going to dissect that famous miracle of the throne, looking past the surface to understand what it means to operate outside of physical laws. From there, we'll turn inward and see how all of this reflects the nature of our own soul. And finally, we'll pull it all together to pinpoint the true source of power at the heart of this entire story.
All right, let's jump right in with our first theme, divine statesmanship. Now, the interpretation we're looking at makes a really sharp distinction between the kind of power a prophet like Solomon had and the authority of any regular worldly ruler.
And this gets you thinking, right? Is all power basically the same, or are there fundamentally different categories of authority? Well, this analysis argues that Prophet Solomon's rule was in a category all its own, not because of political genius or military might or even popular support, but because of where his power came from. And that source sets it completely apart from any other form of government.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got your conventional leadership. It's all about consulting people, political strategy, worldly know-how. But Solomon's authority, that's described as wilaya. It's a kind of divinely appointed guardianship. This isn't just about making smart administrative choices. It means his knowledge, his very actions, are guided by a divine source. He's operating on a level that just transcends ordinary politics.
And this verse from the Quran, this is really presented as the ultimate proof. Solomon's prayer isn't for a victory in battle or for political success. He specifically asked God to grant him a kingdom that will be unique, one that won't belong to anyone after him. The interpretation here is that his authority wasn't just built or inherited, it was a one-of-a-kind, divinely bestowed gift that fundamentally separates it from any power you could get through purely human effort.
So with that idea of divinely granted power in our minds, we get to our second section, miracles. We're now at the absolute heart of the story, where the Queen of Sheba's arrival sparks a demonstration of power that, frankly, challenges the laws of physics as we know them.
So picture this. Solomon throws down a challenge to his whole assembly, which, by the way, includes humans, jinn, even animals. He wants the Queen of Sheba's magnificent throne brought from her kingdom, which is far away, to his court, and he wants it done before she and her delegation even get there. Now, this isn't just showing off his wealth, it's a test of the different kinds of power he has at his command.
And two different figures step up. First, a powerful jinn, a being made from smokeless fire, offers a solution based on what it knows. Incredible physical strength and speed. Its feat would be amazing, but it's still bound by the logic of moving an object through space. But then, a second figure, someone identified only as one who had knowledge from the book, makes a much more incredible claim: to bring the throne in the blink of an eye. The text is deliberately setting up this contrast, pitting raw physical power against the power of divine knowledge.
And this is where the analysis forces us to really dig in. Was the throne just moved at some unbelievable speed, like a feat of supervelocity? Or did something way more profound, something reality-bending, actually happen? The text basically argues that if you just explain this away as moving very fast, you're totally missing the point of the miracle.
According to this interpretation, the miracle wasn't about transportation at all. The term used to describe this is Tai al-Ard, which literally translates to the folding of the earth. Think of it like this. Imagine the world is a piece of paper. The throne is at one end, and Solomon's court is at the other. Instead of traveling across the paper itself is folded, bringing those 2 points together instantly. The space between them is for a moment just gone. The throne doesn't travel through the distance itself is removed. This isn't just a miracle of speed, it's a manipulation of the very fabric of space-time.
So where does this reality-bending power come from? The text attributes it to knowing al-ism al-a Zam, or the greatest name of God. Now let's be clear, this interpretation says this isn't some magic word you chant. It represents a state of being, a deep, existential understanding of God's creative power. It's a knowledge so profound that it lets you operate at the level of primary cause, the source of creation itself, instead of being stuck with the secondary cause and effect rules like gravity and momentum that run our normal physical world. This knowledge is what allows for the direct manipulation of reality.
Okay, so after talking about this huge cosmic power, the analysis does something really fascinating. It connects these grand ideas to the most intimate reality we know, our own consciousness and the nature of the human soul.
The argument starts with something super simple, something we all know to be true. Our physical bodies are bound by the laws of physics. My body is right here, in this spot, right now. It can't also be somewhere else at the same time. It's localized, it's limited, it's subject to the rules of space and time.
And then the analysis asks us to consider a universal human experience that seems to operate outside this physical box: dreaming. What is really going on when our consciousness enters the dream state? This is where a common experience is used as a kind of proof. I mean, a materialist might just say dreams are random neurons firing, but this interpretation asks us to think about the experience of it. Your physical body is just lying there, completely still, but your consciousness, the real you, is totally active. It's traveling, seeing things, interacting, feeling things, often with a powerful sense of reality. This experience, the argument goes, points to a way of perceiving that works independently of our body's location or condition. And to back this idea up, the analysis points to this verse from the Qur'an, which says that God takes the souls of those who do not die during their sleep. The interpretation here is that sleep is a state where the soul, or the ruh, is temporarily separated from the body, and that allows it to operate in this different state of being, which is what accounts for those vivid, independent experiences we have in our dreams.
And so, what this all points to is the core conclusion of this section. The evidence from our own nightly experience suggests our consciousness isn't just some byproduct of our brain. Instead, the soul is an independent, non-physical entity, what this philosophy calls mujarrad, meaning abstracted or disembodied. According to this view, it's the soul that truly sees and experiences. The body is just the tool it uses in the physical world.
Okay, so we've looked at divine kingship, reality-bending miracles, and the non-physical nature of the soul. Let's pull these threads together. What is the one single principle that connects them all?
Let's rewind for a second. Back to that challenge with the throne. Remember the two contenders? The jinn offered a solution that was all about physical might, brute force and speed. But it wasn't the strongest being who won. The one who pulled off the impossible was the one who had a specific, superior kind of knowledge.
And you have to see, according to this analysis, the wording in the Qur'an here is incredibly precise. It doesn't say the miracle was done by the one who was strongest or the fastest. No, the text explicitly says the agent of the miracle was the one who had ilmun min al-kitab, a knowledge from the book. The source of this incredible power is clearly and directly identified as knowledge.
And this is where it all clicks into place. This is the big theme. Solomon's divine statesmanship wasn't just political skill, it was an expression of divine knowledge. The reality-bending miracle of the throne wasn't a feat of strength, it was an application of divine knowledge. And a true understanding of our own soul requires a kind of knowledge that goes beyond the purely physical. In every single case, knowledge is the key. It is the central element that unlocks every level of power and understanding.
And that brings us to our final, and maybe most important takeaway. This entire analysis, from running kingdoms to manipulating reality and understanding our own consciousness, it all comes back to the primacy of knowledge. And so, it leaves us with a really profound question to think about. If the ultimate form of power, power over our world and over ourselves, doesn't come from money or physical strength, but from a true, deep understanding of reality, what does that mean for what we choose to pursue in our own lives?